Hey, good morning. Welcome to the E-Carrier Check Show. Excited to be here. Excited for our guests today. We have some incredible guests today. We're talking to American Diamond Logistics today. We're talking to Steve Weinreiter and DJ Argon, and I can't wait for today. You guys, just your presence down in Texas, presence in the industry is very exciting. So we're going to be talking with them just in a second here. But real quick, before we get into the week, obviously, E-Carrier Check, our goal is to just impact people, help them with relationships, things like that. Right. Nate, obviously, I'd like to hear how your rest of your whole week was, and just talk through that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a great week. Obviously, we chatted on Wednesday a little bit about this, but it seems to be everything. Everyone's trying to find a shipper. There's still people getting into this industry, which I love. Yeah. We got to meet with a few last night, but it's been a great week. But I truly am excited to talk with our guests today because they have a great presence to this industry. They provide a lot of value. And I'm just a big fan. Can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. The opening video that American Diamond Logistics has made, it was wonderful. Steve and DJ, welcome, man. How are you guys today?
Very good. Appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, obviously you both you're veterans, man. And I'm going to call on Steve first, and then we'll kick over to DJ. Give us a rundown. How long have you been in the industry? What have been some kind of the ups and downs for you here?
Yeah, so I graduated college. Let's see, August 11th, 2001. So 1 month exactly prior to 9/11. And back then, everybody was just using Monster to get a job, and that's what I was told to do. Throw your resume out there, man. You'll have a job in no time, and that's what I did, and it was saturated, like a lot of the tools today. And my dad had a brokerage back then, and my plan was not to necessarily get into logistics, but when when 9/11 happened, the interviews were pretty hard to come by, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you come work for me for a little while?" And so I did that. And, really, I guess, when you get into logistics, it's like it gets into your blood. Right. And that's what happened with me. And I spent 10 years with him and decided that, I wanted to carve out my own path. And ended up starting American Diamond in 2012. We started hauling loads September of 2012, and really ours was kind of a different path because I started with a business partner, and we had a couple of sales folks that we brought over, and it was almost like turning off a light switch in one room and turning the light switch on in another. And so we had a somewhat of an easier path at that point. And so, it was a grind, right? We used the same model that everybody else did, right? Where it's, you were knocking on doors and trying to find people at the right time. And for a couple of years, we scaled to $2.5 million in revenue. And we really took a look at things. And at that point, I had been in the industry about 12 years and really, wanted some kind of an easier path. I wanted a different model for American Diamond than the mainstream logistics, right? Not that can't work, but we wanted a different model. And so I looked at a lot of different pathways for that, and ultimately landed on technology. And around that same time, Jim Nickel, our COO, came over from Dart Transit. So Dart Transit, obviously a big asset-based company, and he brought a lot of knowledge and It was perfect, and we went to work on technology that was really geared at um, changing the interaction that a customer has with us when they trust us with business. Right back then, Macro Point was kind of starting to kick off, but visibility in this space was really non-existent.
Yeah.
As a 3PL, right? You could put a GPS device on a truck or a trailer, but as a 3PL, most of the time we didn't have access to that, so we were still at the mercy of what the trucking company was telling us, right? And so we wanted to change the access to that GPS data, and then more importantly, we wanted to share that within the supply chain, and we felt like that was a model that was going to give us, a better future. It was more of a logistics SaaS solicitation strategy than a traditional logistics sales strategy, right? Because this industry, as everybody knows, the industry hasn't changed very much in 30 or 40 years from a sales perspective.
Right.
It's relationship driven, but everybody's coming to the table offering the same thing with the same message, and it's really, does the DNA match between the customer and the salesperson, right? And then you got to back it up. And we wanted to change the model a little bit, not take the human out of the equation, but add a little something to the model to give us an advantage. And we went from when we went live with the technology finally in 2017, we went from about a $6.5 million company at that point to over 50 million in about 5 or 6 years. And so it was obviously that's not a coincidence. That obviously it proved its worth, right? And I don't think we realized until recently really what kind of an accomplishment that was, because we had created the back office TMS, but we had also partnered with it the GPS side of things. So Navigator TMS on the backside, and then the integration with Freight Tracer as the GPS tool to go along with it. And you have to search a long ways to find a 3PL that has created both sides. There's a lot of folks, in the bigger space that have created their own TMS, but most of them outsourced the GPS portion of it. We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to be held hostage to what another software company did or didn't decide to do. So we decided to develop both sides of the equation, and obviously it's worked out really well for us.
I love that. Holy buckets. I mean, there's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about this, and I really want to hear DJ's story as well. We talk a lot about this, though. We talk a lot about how do people differentiate themselves? How do people find just another way of selling themselves? And you guys just jumped in the deep end of tech and said, we're going to do this ourselves, especially when, honestly, I mean, GPS wasn't really hot until, later here. So I love that you jumped in. Kind of, you're like almost like pioneers of GPS. I love that.
Absolutely.
I think the other thing too, real quick, and obviously American Diamond Logistics is the company, but the two companies you mentioned are also yours, the TMS, the Navigator TMS, and Freight Tracer. Those are your technologies that are out there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, I love that. I can't get enough of that differentiator.
Yeah, it's really fascinating when you draw something out literally on a napkin or on a computer, blank piece of computer paper, and you take your experience and you turn it into something, and you draw it out, and then you send it to the smart guys and say, hey, we want you to turn these stick figures into something real. and it's just fascinating to see it come together. But a lot of times, right, the tech companies in this space are tech companies. Most of them are not logistics companies with a tech background, so to speak. We went with this where, we knew what technology needed to do, and then we went to work on finding, folks that would create a software team, and then we combined talents and put them all together, and it's never a finished product, right? Like you're always creating more. There's always the next step, but that's the fun part.
Yeah, and I think what you would find in our space here, especially on our size, the scale that we're at from an organization standpoint, not many companies our size even do this, right? So we offer something to our customers that most of our size don't, and that's where we are using, our relationships that is enhanced by the technology, right? And so our relationships and our customer service is the core, and then we use the technology to enhance it versus the other way around, right? And since we own the technology and are able to be adaptive to the market, be very very relevant in the space, that we can always change our technology based on the customer's needs. If we have a customer that says we need this, we can turn it around 2 or 3 days, depending on how dynamic it is, right? Like how encompassing it is. But, for the most part, though, we can do that at a drop of a dime.
I love that. DJ, well, a couple things real quick. Jerome Jones is asking how to get signed up with American. We have a lot of carriers. Obviously, DIY, who is wonderful. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, he's very entertaining and also has a very interesting sense of humor. And I appreciate the.
We do like long walks on the beach too, DIY.
I feel like
in Florida, go fishing. Maybe we can do some of those things as well.
I'll be on the beach in the Bahamas here before long. They get signed up with us there too if they're on that.
I love it. DJ, obviously you've got a pretty extensive background as well, really heavily in the 3PL world. Give us a rundown on your side of things, and kind of your role with American Diamond and where you kind of fall in there.
Sure. So, I joined the industry around the same time as Steve did. I've been in for almost 22 years. Originally, I went to college to become an electrical engineer. After doing that for 3 years, I decided that I want to take a different path, and got into logistics and joined C.H. Robinson. And I worked there for about 16 years and doing several different roles and responsibilities. I was all over the map there over those years. And then I decided to enter into the smaller 3PL space and made my way to American Diamond. And so at American Diamond, I'm the VP of operations. So I'm responsible for all the operation folks out there that are executing on our customers' requirements and expectations. And we also support from a pricing analyst standpoint and onboarding and sourcing and project management. We do a lot of different things. It kind of, jack of all trades a little bit out there in the operations team. Some people are focusing more on the dedicated, and then we have others that are sourcing on the spot market. So a lot of different things going on in there.
That's awesome. That's incredible. That when you guys get on your website, I don't know if you've looked on their website. Well, I know you have, but the people that are watching, you guys offer, you do. If it's, you could probably ship the moon if they let you.
That's the new sexy term, right? Is logistics service provider, and I think we've kind of outgrown that 3PL perception. There's things we don't do, and we're straightforward with customers on some things. But we've got a talented group. That's one thing about the technology. We never take the human element out of the equation, and I think we've seen that with the issue where some of the companies in this space have done that. Shippers still want that human contact. And the one thing about American Diamond, say what you want about the technology, but we have always been blessed with good people, and we really, I think, stress that over anything else. When people come in here and they want to, try to, I guess, become a part of this thing, the most important part is how are they going to treat the person next to them? Because this industry is unrelenting. It's 24/7, 365. There's a lot of outside pressure. Every shipment is like you're transporting an organ that's about to be put into somebody, and some people can take that and some people can't. But when you're in this office, if you know that the person next to you, has your back, and you know that they're going to be there to support you, but at the same time enjoy their company and make your day a little bit better. It takes that stress off just a little bit, and you can't eliminate the industry stress, but you can eliminate some of the internal stress, and that's what we try to do. And I think our customers realize that, not just when they walk in the door. You see the video, and you see the environment that our people are in. We spent a ton of money putting together a great facility. We've got the entertainment room where people can go and play video games or get their butt kicked by DJ at ping pong. I hate to admit that, by the way, because, they've got an outlet. But I think customers appreciate the ability to connect through technology, but trust what's happening in the background. It does not mean that we are immune from issues, right? But it's how you deal with it that I think separates you from your competition, because a truck's gonna break down, a human being is gonna have a bad day, and there's no getting around that. But it's how you deal with it and how we deal with our carrier partners that separates us, again, with the partnership with our technology.
Yeah,
I think a big thing about that, especially the different 3PLs I've worked for in the past versus what American Diamond does, is when a customer presents us with a problem they're having in their supply chain or in their operations, and they need help with it, we go in, and with all of our experience, we spend a lot of time understanding and diving deep into that. Like, we try to get down to the very, very root cause of something, and then work our way back out and provide those solutions as you start pulling yourself back out of that and addressing the problems as you come back, right? A lot of some of the 3PLs I worked with, they want the quick and easy fix. Like, I'm just going to go get this one load, or I'm going to get this one transaction. Whereas we're looking at that partnership with the customer to last longer than just that one load. You can wait 2 months to give us a load, but if we provide that solution and now you're going to be a customer of American Diamonds for 10 years, which a lot of our customers are, then that's more valuable to us than that one load. So it's just really spending a lot of time understanding our customers and not looking for that quick, easy fix.
Yeah, that's how you build just great relationships. And I mean, everything you guys just said in the matter of 2 minutes, like, I just really love how you guys build the culture over there, how you take care of your carriers and your customers. I mean, that's just huge. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Real quick, Jerome, if you want to reach out to us direct on our onboarding, just go ahead and email me. It's dj.aragon@adldelivers.com, and I'll be able to help you out.
That's awesome. Yeah, we met with Jerome a few times. He's a good guy. So, Jerome, make sure you hit him up, man.
Yeah, he's the best 4-year-old carrier with 0 inspections on the internet. It's the wildest thing, man. Like, this guy just cannot get somebody to friggin' pull him in. We really like this guy. He's a good dude, and I can't get enough of that. So we appreciate that.
The 0 inspection thing, I know, has been flying around a lot. We spend a lot of time attending fraud conferences and such, but again, we partner with carriers. We spend time understanding them and working with them. So it's not one of those things we just try to flip a switch here. If there's someone that's willing to spend the time and work with us, we'll spend the time back with them as well.
I love that.
I do too.
One thing I love about this industry is trends, and I try to keep up with them. There's so many, and you guys don't have to give us your secrets, but what trends do you see working for you guys so far throughout the year or starting the year? Or maybe what kind of trends do you see maybe going away as the year goes on? And now this could be like sales, how you guys onboard carriers or things of that nature, but any trends that you guys see that are working for you guys' team?
If you don't mind, if I can interject in this,
Sure.
Can you answer this from a business perspective and then also from a technology perspective? Because
absolutely, absolutely.
So I'll dive into the business and then I'll let Steve jump on the technology side. But as everyone's experiencing a downturn in the market, the logistics space it feels like it's usually feast or famine. There's ebbs and flows, right? And so we're on a downturn, right? And we see that trend is more competitive rates. Shippers are being more conservative. A lot of shippers are even laying off staff because the volume is not there for them anymore. So rates are becoming a more of a focal point, but the customers still want that level of service that we provide. So it's been really important for us to stay relevant with our customers, stay engaged with them, and make sure those lines of communications are open. We went through an RFP with one of our customers where we were able to retain all of our business and grab a few more lanes because of the service, but also being very very transparent with them on rates and making sure that they understood the cost of the service we provide irrelevant to the marketplace. So I think rates are still going to be an issue or a challenge, I guess you would say, for the foreseeable, next probably quarter or two, and hopefully that'll change from there. But there still are several customers out there that are looking for solutions, and it requires you to be, for lack of a better term, dynamic and really able to look through the whole issue and design a solution that's going to be supportive of the customer. If you understand the customer's needs and really can get to those details, like I was saying earlier, you're going to retain a long-term customer and you're going to be able to maintain that business. And so I think you have to continue to be creative like that. The space where you're hitting the spot board for open loads or any of those kind of things and think you're going to turn a profit off of that, those are long gone. Everyone has access to data. Everyone has access to pricing. It's that value add that you can articulate and communicate with the customer and then identify where you fit in their whole supply chain or their whole organization. That's where you're really going to become successful at, and that's where we focus majority of our time on.
I love that.
I do too.
Yeah, and I think from a technology perspective, the game is still to change the interaction between the customer and their freight. How can you make that better every single day? And then do the same with the carriers, right? We really put an emphasis on relationships with our carriers. We don't ever try to beat them down to the lowest price. The worst thing from a 3PL perspective is if your best carriers go out of business, we don't know how to drive trucks. We don't know how to run a trucking company, right? So I think it still comes down to the elementary aspects of this thing is really creating advantages for the customers and creating advantages for your carriers. That's I think a lot of the times we try to overcomplicate this model, and it's really not necessary. I think there's things that like speed to market with pricing, some of the stuff DJ was mentioning. I think when American Diamond was getting off the ground, I think visibility was was really the biggest challenge that the industry from our side of the fence faced. And I think right now it's more of a pricing / data challenge.
Yeah.
Knowing what the market is generating, what are carriers charging, and what are the going rates, and what's real versus what's fake. From a data perspective out there with some of the tools, and you've got to know. You've got to be able to forecast costs within a very short amount of time, within a very small variance, so that you can get that transactional revenue. And that's one of the things that we've done here recently is we've helped a company called Fairlanes. We've implemented that tool into our TMS, into Navigator. And we're just trying to get that data implemented into some of our screens, so that our team has a really good idea of what's any lane going to cost in a short amount of time, so that we can get that in front of the customer. And again, a lot of the data that's out there, the hygiene is no good. It's incorporating detention fees or layovers or what have you. A lot of the human data entry into those data tools is flawed. And what we're doing with Fairlanes is we control the filtering mechanisms in there, so the data, the hygiene that's coming in is in my opinion the best in the industry. And so we get a lane, and we see what the data shows that lane is going to cost. We have a pretty good idea of the accuracy, right? Versus, something else, DAT or some of those others that has a ton of data coming in there, but it may be more difficult for them to filter out all of that data appropriately, right? So we get it, and we're able to be much quicker to respond than some of the others. And so I think it's trying not to overcomplicate the model, and really try to get the customers what they need, and trying to be a good partner to the carrier, so they choose us over somebody else. And it's, usually right now it's all about price. But we're trying to make it more about that, and I think right now we're thankfully pretty successful with that.
I love that. Boy, there's so much. You guys just talk. You guys got a lot of meat, man. We could sit here and talk for days. I love that you take the value added approach to everything. I really think it's interesting, how you guys have adapted to modern technology such as Fairlanes within your TMS. Are you seeing, from your guys' perspective, obviously we've got an interesting year politically. There could be potentially some kind of war here, but we obviously are in election year. Are you seeing, just micro trends within, I've got this many loads and this week I'm at this many loads? How are you kind of managing that side of things from trends perspective? Are you seeing, hey, this week's good, this month's good? Are you measuring it by quarter? What from a business model side of things, what seems to be kind of those touch points that you kind of keep watching?
It's been a challenge, honestly. The trends have been consistently inconsistent. Which typically in an election year, it's it's pretty flat. With the way the economy has gone, I've questioned whether the administration would do some things to try to make things maybe look better than what they really are. That could help. And we've seen some of that. I think our first quarter had some signs, and we had a really good first quarter. we're just waiting for that needle to go straight up. But I think we're a little ways, from an industry perspective, seeing that.
Sure.
We've been fortunate. We added warehousing to our portfolio about 18 months ago, and we went from 5,500 square feet in Roanoke, Texas, to 78,000 square feet, with about 70,000 of that being warehousing, and a few months later doubled that to 156,000 square feet, within a very, very short amount of time. And we're fortunate to where we can match some of the demand on transportation versus warehousing, and sometimes you may have more demand on warehousing versus the transportation side. And we've been fortunate enough here recently to really partner with some big players, and for us, the outlook for 24, for the rest of 24, is really, really positive. So we're excited about that, but I don't know if you've got other.
Yeah, I would say that, a lot of what we do here, we spend a lot of time, ops and sales, really communicating with customers and talking to them, finding out what's going on within their business, what trends they're seeing as well. We get feedback about, some customers we talk to that say, hey, we've got enough orders to last us to the middle of 2025, and then we have no idea what we're going to be doing after that. It's some of those kind of things that, it feels like, we're okay right now. And then what does 2025 look like? What does 2026 look like? So, we look at it weekly about what are we seeing that from a volume and a revenue perspective for this week. But a lot of the more important information, I would say, is what is our customers seeing? What are their trends they're seeing for their businesses? Because we're not siloed to just one specific industry within our customers. We've got beverages, we've got home building, we've got HVAC. I mean, we've got several different industries we're involved in. And when you start talking with them and uncovering what's happening within their business, it really helps us understand. And then it's talking to carriers. We have some carriers that are large national carriers that we have good relationships with, and they tell us what's going on in their business, whether they're down or up, and what they're seeing. So we really network quite a bit, and that comes with everyone on our leadership team and our executive team having over 20 years of experience, because we know a lot of people in the industry and we connect with them.
Yeah,
I think that tells a lot about you guys, how great of a company you are.
Oh, yeah.
To go out and get feedback from your shippers, from your carriers. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? How can I adapt for you? I think that's just beautiful, man. I appreciate that you guys do that.
And oddly enough, the customers want to hear from us too. They want to hear what we're seeing. Yeah. And what kind of trends we're noticing with the carrier community, because they're not as well connected, and we're the ones talking with them. So
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, I do like the Steve talks about creating advantages for customers, creating advantages for his carriers. When he's talking about tech, you guys constantly throughout the entire conversation here have said, clients first, relationships, communication. And, we get a lot of people that are fairly new to the industry in this, on this show. And so, if you're just getting started, I mean, take that for what it is. And you've got to start to build relationships and understand people's businesses. And I love the mantra. I even liked, what I really liked, besides the ping pong table, which I'd be interested to see how it goes. But I loved up on the wall, you had a fairly large TV. It must have been kind of some kind of reporting function of how things are going. And then right above it says whatever it takes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where does it come from? Or tell me what's going on with that aspect.
Yeah. That's a great question. So
good story too.
Yeah. Jim Nickel, our COO, was visiting with Home Depot at their corporate office in Atlanta. And one of the questions they posed to him was, why American Diamond? In 3 words, why American Diamond? He said, we're all about whatever it takes. And that's now, as you guys saw, is painted in our office. And it's something that we live by every single day. It's in front of us every single day. And it's something that, I think is is ingrained in the ADL culture. We don't claim to be the smartest. We're just a bunch of guys that come in here and try to outwork everybody around us, and we'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, and the customers know that. And so I think it's a motto that stuck. That meeting happened, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, something like that, and it just stuck. And we've lived by it. We lived by it before it was said, but after it was said, it ended up on the wall, and it ended up on our wall in Roanoke, and now it's painted in our offices here in North Fort Worth, and we live by it every single day. And the screens that you mentioned, we've got some of the screens from our technology. We've got several big screens in the bullpen. One of them is a kiosk, just like you would see at an airport. So it's got all of our pickups, and then deliveries for that day that cycles through, and it'll cycle through traffic maps, weather maps, and then our corporate statistics, our on-time percentages, our on-time delivery percentages are in front of us at all times. We want to know how well we're performing at all times. It's the first thing we see when we log into the TMS, so that we know at all times we're accountable to our customers, and our carriers know that we hold them accountable to us too. We've got that same data in all of our carrier profiles, that we can send to them at any given time, not as for us to put our thumb down on them, but just to hey, here's what we're seeing. If this freight is something that's important to you, we need the service to pick up, and here's some things that we can do to help. And the customers appreciate that too. But at the same time, we have the customers can log into their portal or the customer app on their smartphone, and our statistics to them is the first thing that they see. So accountability is implanted all across our screens, all across the technology, and we see it nonstop. And I think this is an industry where if you take your eye off the game, you're going to lose a lot of revenue fast, because there's too many folks that are good at what they do, and there's a lot of options out there for customers these days. So you really gotta pay attention to how well you're performing, and accountability's got to be there, or you're going to learn some lessons.
It's so funny. We were on the phone with the shipper the other day, and I love how he says this. The shipper actually said that his carriers were taking him for granted.
Yeah.
And you're like, if the shipper would just take a moment, and the timing of this call with the shipper was kind of unique. But when you say it like you just did, it's like, hey, there's a lot of players. We've got to come to the table. And I love that you hold your carriers accountable. I love your technology approach to all of this, because I think that that'll continue to differentiate, American Diamond, and as you continue to grow into the future. I am kind of curious, as we kind of wrap this up. I know we try to keep these things around 40-ish minutes or 45 minutes. Obviously you've got a couple different logos on your website. You've got one that looks like a baseball field, and then you got ADL, which looks like it should be on the side of a truck, or
yeah.
Can you give me a rundown on the baseball?
Yeah, we are. That's great. You're pretty observant, because the original logo was definitely a baseball theme. We are definitely baseball folks here, and American League Baseball Diamond. That's where the name came from.
Okay.
So yeah, the local team here, obviously Texas Rangers, they play in the American League. So that's where the American piece came from it. And, you know, the background of the flag is the baseball diamond, and it came together pretty good. The problem with that logo is that it was hard to put on some swag, and so we had to we wanted to keep the OG logo around, but we wanted to create a new logo to put on shirts and hats and all that stuff. So we had to come and create a new one, and that came together at the end of 23. We've been pretty.
Did we lose you? Oh, you're still there.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Looks like we had a little bit of connection issue for a minute there.
Little blurb.
I love that. And one thing too, I know we're gonna be. You guys have a pro shop, which I love. So anyone watching, go buy some merch off at ADL, and they got some pretty cool stuff on there. We're checking it out now. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Jared, close us out, man. I know you guys got a business to run, so I really appreciate your time, your insights. Jared, I don't think you have anything to add here.
I love the way you guys approach the industry. You're first class, and not only the way you market yourself is incredible. ADLdelivers.com. If you guys want to see a first class website, you guys are both on LinkedIn, so check, connect with these guys. Any carriers that are out there that are wanting to, you can just actually sign up as a carrier. I know Jerome was asking about that, but it looks like we got an email correspondence between the two of you. Guys, I would love just to, any other last thoughts about ADL that you want to share, or kind of tell that you have that was in your mind before we started.
Well, just for some of the folks that watch your show or that come on your show that are new to the space, when it comes to putting customers first, a lot of folks say that, but you really have to put meat on the bone to get there, right? And that's what American Diamond does. We put our people come first, right? Our employees are the most important part of our model. The culture has to be there, or the customers are not going to benefit from anything, right? And then our relationships with our vendors and our technology. Those are kind of the three pillars of our business. And we feel like if we get those three things right, then the customers are the ones that benefit from that. So when we say that our model is built for customers, we mean it, because we put the pillars in place to accomplish that. And so I think for all the new folks out there, it's not just about dialing, for customers or knocking on doors. You really have to put a model in place that separates you from your competition, because there's a ton of folks out there that are doing this, but you got to look outside of the box and really create a model that can survive and thrive in this industry. So little feedback for them.
I love that. And this is why I named the show Logistics Done Right with American Diamond Logistics.
Exactly.
You guys hit it on the head today, so I appreciate that.
I love it. Go check out American Diamond. Steve and DJ, you guys are incredible. I really just wish you guys the best in the future, and thanks for being on today. A lot of value today, so thank you for being
Absolutely.
on.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.